Well, for more on this, I'm being joined in our Abuja studios by a legal practitioner, Mr. Kelechi Okparako. We'd like to thank you for joining us on the program and ask what you make of, some would say the back and forth, the federal government, the IMN leader coming back to Nigeria without going, going through the medical treatment in India.
Thank you very much. On my part, I think it is a very unfortunate scenario we have been faced now, because after the Kaduna court granted the Sheikh the medical leave, we thought that at least we have had a breakthrough from the problems that his detention has caused the nation and the needless loss of lives and properties. And then his departure to India and then having to come back without going through the treatment. So I think it's a very unfortunate incident, and it stems from the fact that the situation was not well handled right from the time the court gave the order and his departure. So reading from what the statement by the Sheikh and the Federal Ministry of Health, is just an unavoidable situation. I think they could have handled it a lot better than they did.
And that's the question a lot of people are asking. Where is the missing link? I mean, the group, they're saying that the government never wanted the medical leave in the first place and succeeded and had their way eventually.
Yeah, that could be argued that because of the way the government had conducted themselves, this is not the first time that he had been granted bail. The Federal High Court and some other courts had granted him bail, but the government refused to obey. So it was a relief when we had the SSS come out to say, after the Kaduna High Court granted him bail, that they were going to respect and obey the court order, and it was a relief. And then we have gone back now, and it is tempting for one to want to believe what the IMN are saying, but at the same time too, I don't think the government was completely out of place, because if you look at the circumstances and the nature of the bail that was granted by the Kaduna High Court, it was not, El-Zakzaky was not on bail, so to say. It was strictly for medical leave. But if we are to believe what the government has said from the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information, that he was asking for so many other things that the court did not envisage when the order was made, then you will also understand the part of the government, in sticking to their guns and going a bit further to prevent him from having all the luxuries. Like they said, he wanted to be lodged in a 5-star hotel and to receive visitors and to have his international passport handed over to him. I don't think those things were part of what...
But what do you see happening next?
What the court had, yes.
What do you see happening next?
Well, I think they have to go back to the court, because I read in the papers that they are mulling the option of applying to other countries, maybe Indonesia, Malaysia, for the Sheikh to embark on another medical trip. But before they can do that, they will have to go back to the courts so that the courts can vary its order and probably define the role of the government, because it appears that the role of the government was not well defined. And the Sheikh felt that the government was exceeding its bounds, while the government felt that they were within their rights to monitor and be strict with the kind of visitors he will receive and the nature of the treatment. So I think they need to go back to the court for the courts to clarify the terms of the medical leave, and so that maybe the Sheikh can proceed on another medical leave, or the court can decide which order to make. All
right, we appreciate your time, legal practitioner Kelechi Okparako, for joining us on the program. Now, this may not be the best of times for some persons in the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, appears to be turning its spotlight on some persons within. The head of service, Mrs. Winifred Oyoita, appears to be the one under the spotlight at the moment, as she's being quizzed by the Antigraft agency. Sources told Channels Television that Mrs. Oyoita is being investigated over an alleged 3 billion naira contract scam, abuse of duty tour allowance, money laundering and alleged theft of government funds. She is said to have been granted an administrative bail, but is now being hospitalized after the close under the close watch of the Antigraft agency. She was appointed the head of the civil service of the Federation in acting capacity in October 2015 and was confirmed January 2016 by President Buhari. Staying with the corruption allegation stories, a federal high court sitting in Lagos granted bail to Mr. Abdullahi Babalele, son-in-law of the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. Justice Nicholas Uwebo admitted Mr. Babalele to bail in the sum of 20 million naira, with one surety in like sum. The judge says the surety must be resident in Lagos and must produce evidence of means through an affidavit. Mr. Babalele was also directed to deposit his passport, which has been with the EFCC with the court and will be remanded in custody of the EFCC pending the perfection of the bail conditions. The judge also granted bail to Al-Atiku's lawyer, Mr. El-Zakzaky, and his brother, Eronse, in the sum of 20 million naira each, with one surety in like sum. The surety must reside in Lagos, also have landed properties in Lagos. Trial of both cases has been fixed for October the 8th. So let's quickly get some perspectives on the federal government's anti-corruption war and the recent cases. Mr. Abiodun Aikomo, Special Assistant to the President on Anti-Corruption and White-Collar Crimes. He joins us from our Abuja studios. I must indeed ask you, the federal government's anti-corruption war, some people are saying that the government is looking inwards. Is that the case here?
Well, good afternoon, Millicent, and thanks for having me. The federal government war against corruption, like we have always maintained, is not against any class of persons or any group of people. It's a total war because we have identified corruption as a big problem in Nigeria. And the government of President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to fighting this scourge at all levels and wherever it may be found. So it's not about looking inwards or looking outwards. It's about fighting the war against corruption holistically and the way it should be.
Take a break. Hold on, Mr. Aikomo. We'll come back to you on this issue. Still to come as well, the President of Senate, Ahmed Lawan, is saying the 9th National Assembly is prepared to pass the 2020 budget by December 2019. We'll bring you more details when we return.